Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Alina George, and I work in the FAA's UAS Integration Office. It takes a village to raise a drone pilot. The FAA is a great source of information, and for new drone pilots, finding more experienced buddies to fly with really helps boost your experience and your own abilities. On today's panel, we're going to be discussing some of the ways that you can find drone organizations online and in person. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. This meeting is being live streamed on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you can't stay for the whole program, that's all right. You can watch a recording of this webinar on the FAA's YouTube channel. This is a very short program, so we will only be answering a few audience questions during the webinar. You can submit questions in the comment section on YouTube or Facebook and through replies on Twitter. We are monitoring all of these platforms so that our panelists can answer as many questions as possible. After the webinar, we will post highlights on our drone events webpage. And with that, let's meet today's illustrious panel. First up, we've got Kenji Sugahara from the Drone Service Providers Alliance. Next, we've got Dave Messina, who represents the FPV Freedom Coalition. We also have with us Eno Umo from the Global Air Drone Academy. And finally, we've got Hernanda White from Black Girls Drone. Thank you all so much for being here today. So my first question is for the panelists. We're going to do a round robin, and I'm just going to call on your name in just a minute. How does your organization promote drone safety? And let's start with Kenji.
Sure. For the commercial side, the Drone Service Providers Alliance is really focused on safety because it's one of the most important things that you can have, especially since we're doing it for work. We have insurance and we want to be safe in it. So one of the things that we do is on our website, we provide information about safety management systems and checklists, because that's one of the most important things for us, at least. We have a set of steps that we go through before each flying each time. And we say, 1, just check your props. 2, calibrate your compass, make sure your IMU is okay. So just so it's a much safer environment as well. So you check out where you're flying, check out exactly whether you're flying in controlled airspace or not as well. So there's a whole bunch of steps that we go through and we lay it out for folks, say, hey, you should do this before each flight. So it's not only safe for us, but it's also safer for people on the ground and also for anybody who might be sharing the airspace with us. So those are 3 really important pieces that you have to remember: is safety of the people who are flying in the air, safety of the people on the ground, and safety for the pilots as well.
I love that. Thank you so much, Kenji. All right, Dave, I'm going to toss it to you.
Thanks, Alina. The way we promote safety in the FPV Freedom Coalition is, first, we've written a set of safety guidelines. And if you're a recreational operator, you have to follow a set of safety guidelines. So we've got a set that we've gone through, created, and you can copy them there. In addition, we're setting up to be a community-based organization. So that will be a way for us to continue the education that we do, as well as helping folks find FRIAs, or FAA recognized identification areas. And finally, we participate in a long list of committees that are normally FAA sponsored as well as industry sponsored to promote the recreational view and promote safety.
Fantastic. Sounds like you all are doing a lot. Thank you so much, Dave. Eno, let's hear what you all are doing.
Yes, so I'm here from the Global Air Drone Academy, and as you can imagine, we train youth and adults on drone safety, but with a particular focus on youth, because they are, of course, the next generation of drone professionals. And, a lot of the drones that professionals actually fly for commercial use, some of these youth are actually getting for Christmas and for birthdays, so it's like we have to make sure that they have the proper awareness and training to know how to use these drones in the national airspace. So we do that through summer camps. We do that through our after school programs. During our camps, we actually have the students sign a set of safety rules that they are adhering to say that, yes, we are going to make sure that we're going to remain safe at all times, even though the drones that we typically find in class are small, well under the 250-gram weight limit, but still so they can understand the culture, of safety, so that when they do get, old enough to get their Part 107, they'll already know all the rules.
Thank you so much, Enno. And getting those habits in early, I think, is really, really key. Hernanda, what about you?
Yes. Well, we are a safety first culture. We start off saying these are not toys. They are real live robots that can actually cause harm. And so we practice safety, in before we even get started, throughout the program, and we end the program safely. One of the things that the kids love is being assigned a role. So as a visual observer, I have my safety crew, and we have a crew resource management guideline that we follow for safety protocols. One big fun thing that we also like to do is have a quiz bowl on safety. So one of my favorite questions is, can you fly a drone at night? And they love to say yes or no and guess if that's a possibility. But we let them know that there are no wrong answers, but it is a wrong answer, because the wrong answer, an incorrect answer, is not flying safely at night without any lights. And so now that the FAA has, of course, passed it, where you can fly at night and drones have to have the proper lighting, and get the proper okay and the waivers, then that's a part of the safety plan that we have as well. We put it into practice. We share through experience. And when we're out in the community, we also fly safely, even if it's for fun.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really, really important point. You want to be flying safely no matter what you're doing. And I want to thank all of you so much for being great stewards of the safety message. All right, we're going to go on to our next question. This is a lightning round. All right. So we talked a little bit in the beginning about how, it takes a village to raise a drone pilot. So besides your own organization, what is an organization that you follow on social media for drone news? Let's again go in the same order. Let's start with Kenji.
Well, mine's easy. I follow Dave's social media, the FPV Freedom Coalition. So they're actually a great resource for information, and Dave's on there as well. And there's a number of folks that he works with that provide excellent information to folks. And I'm always learning things about FPV as well, because I fly FPV not only for work, for a lot of fun. I just get a blast flying around with goggles on. So definitely the FPV Freedom Coalition is a great resource. Check their social media presence out and check out what they do, because it's really cool and you learn a lot.
Thank you, Kenji. With that, let's go to Dave from FPV Freedom Coalition. Seems like you've got a little bit of a spotlight here.
Thank you, Kenji. The first off, we follow Joshua Bardwell. The FPV know-it-all is his handle, and he's very bright, and he has great news as well as product reviews, and has opinions about what's going on as well. Second group that we follow are our partners in flight test with the Flight Test Community Association.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dave. Enno, who do you follow?
Yeah, so there's so many great resources out there. Another special shout out to David as well. He actually spoke to our students just about a year or so ago. We had a virtual drone club where he talked about all the wonderful things that Freedom Coalition is doing. But I'm a huge fan of some of the blogs out there, like Drone Life. Drone DJ as well. They're always coming out with new, interesting stories, particularly related to the business side, of the industry. And of course, YouTube. There's so many different incredible resources out there. Drone pilots that share their everyday stories that really show you the ins and outs of what it's like to be a full-scale drone pilot. So definitely, there are a ton of resources out there.
Thank you so much, Enno. And Hernanda, who do you follow for drone news?
Yes, absolutely. And I agree, Dave, great FPV. We love it. And, yes, we are the same there, everyone. We're all probably following the same news. I love Drone DJ because, of course, it has such exciting news, and it covers a lot of the hands-on and the, I guess the technical stuff and so much of the things that are going on in the industry around the world. One of my particular favorites, though, is the commercial UAV news. I love what they have to say a lot of times, and the drone energy and robotics. They have some really cool news too. They talk about drone energy and they talk about robotics in the industry. One of my fun ones that I love, that I always get their magazines now, is the AOPA, because they also, if you read their articles, they talk about drones and they talk about a lot of the changes that are happening in the industry all around for flight.
And Hernanda, do you mind just spelling out what that acronym is, AOPA?
Oh, yes. Well, you put me on the spot there. I'm hoping that it's the
Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association.
Yes, I was going to say as the aviation. Okay, Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And there are a lot of good resources that everybody just talked about. So if you are new to drones, go ahead and follow some of those folks and get a lot more information about the drone community. All right, next question. Enno, this one is for you. The drone community is international. So are there specific resources that you use to learn about drone rules in other countries?
Yeah, so I would say, first and foremost, the most credible source of information you'll get is from the local CAA, Civil Aviation Authority, for that country that you're visiting. So I would definitely consult that resource first before anything else. But there are other resources out here. I know our friends at UAV Coach have an extensive directory when it comes to different countries' rules and regulations as well. And another one, a little less known, but the African Drone Forum, which is a organization started to promote, of course, drones in Africa, but they also have a international database that countries are looking to find out, other regulations as well. So it's a big deal, big issue. Of course, every country has their own set of rules and regulations. So before you go to that country, definitely make sure that you are checking out their rules and regulations and what you have to do to import, that drone, to make sure you're doing everything in accordance to their own rules.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I know we've got a little bit of time, so I would love to hear a little bit more about what the Global Air Drone Academy does.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. So we, as the name implies, we are a global academy, but we had our beginnings in Baltimore, where my partner, co-founder Austin Brown, and I were born and raised. So we actually started the academy as another company on our original commercial operation. So at first we started out mainly just providing real estate photography and mapping and, the data side of drones. And then we realized, the industry wasn't going to grow unless we had more pilots that were trained and knew the applications of drone technology. So from our for-profit entity, we birthed Global Air Drone Academy, which is our nonprofit. And as I explained, we go into schools, we go into different other nonprofits as well, and teach students about the wonderful applications. Since we've started, we've now been able to grow, and personally delivered drone workshops in 12 different countries. We work primarily through the U.S. State Department, and the embassies that we have on ground in these countries. So they have different funding opportunities that they provide to nonprofits to help spread the good news of drones and STEM technology, and really get everyone excited. And what we're really focused on is entrepreneurship. We really want to grow the next generation of students that are taking advantage of this wonderful technology, and continue to grow from there.
Thank you so much, Enno, for all of the work that you do. I think, getting drones and drone education out to youth as early as we can, I think that's a great, great idea. And obviously, aviation is so important to our society as it is. Thank you. All right, next question is for Dave. So Dave, please talk to us a little bit about how you got involved in the FPV community.
Sure. I can feel the teasing from Kenji already. I've been flying model airplanes for over 50 years. And so it was a pretty natural progression from flying model helicopters to then seeing videos about, oh my gosh, this is so cool. You're as if you're flying from the flight deck. So it was 2016 when I purchased a couple of kits, started soldering and building the FPV quadcopters, and they keep multiplying in my shop. And I have a good collection of tiny whoops to 3-inch to 5-inch to 7-inch to video drones, and most of them are FPV. So putting the goggles on, and so it's just that immersion. That's how I got started, and also being a modeler and a mechanical engineer and a builder.
Gotcha. Dave, can you define what FPV stands for, please?
Oh, first person view. My apologies. Thanks, Alina.
Of course. And so basically that means that when somebody is flying FPV, do you want to go into that a little bit? Because you've talked a bit about goggles.
Yeah.
What does that really entail?
So people say, oh, is that like virtual reality? And while the technology is a little different, it's a great analogy. And so you're putting on a set of goggles, and there's a camera in the aircraft that sends a signal back to your goggles. So you're controlling the flight of the drone or quadcopter or whatever, or wing or whatever the aircraft is. And you're seeing absolutely what a pilot would see were they sitting on the flight deck in that aircraft. And so the level of immersion is so fantastic that we have a number of people telling us, I suffer from PTSD, or I suffer from chronic pain. And it's such a fantastic and freeing experience that this is really helping me, as well as a wonderful way to get kids attracted in the work like that Eno does in STEM, and get them excited and interested. And as the multi-GP founder says, it's FPV racing is a great antidote to video games. And we get kids outside, get them together, get them competing. And that's to me is one of the great things about the technology, as well as meeting people and getting out there.
I love it. Thank you so much, Dave. And for more, if you want to find more about FPV, you can definitely go to Dave's organization, the FPV Freedom Coalition. All right. Question 5. Kenji, who do you represent, and what do your members do?
Sure. So the DSP is the Drone Service Providers Alliance, and we represent close to 56,000 small and medium-sized businesses across the United States. So our members do a variety of things. Say, for example, for myself at least, I work in the film and television industry, and there's a lot, if you think about it, drones do a lot of different things. So there's a lot of different ways that drones are used. So you not only see them in commercials, the car commercials that you see on TV that we do, or even in movies, but there's also, for example, inspection. So drones are used for inspection of smokestacks, of infrastructure. Think of the dirty, dangerous, and dull jobs that are out there. Drones are starting to be used a lot for in those industries where it's just really hard to do to get a person there safely. Another one, for example, would be line inspection. So line inspection is the power lines out there. We've heard about some of the issues that cause wildfires. Drones are used for to inspect those lines as well. So that's a really interesting vertical. Smokestacks, to climb up there, it gets kind of dangerous. So a lot of companies are using drones to inspect those rather than sending a human being up there because it's dangerous. Other ones are, for example, crop inspection. They used to be traditional aircraft that would fly over, take pictures. Now it's the farmer themselves could have a drone. They pop it up, they do a couple pass mapping, and they can check out the health of the crops that way as well. Pretty soon, one day, that might be completely automated, but for now, there's actual pilots doing it out there as well. Surveying. So drones are also used for surveying to check out land plots. So there's that element as well. Drones are even being used underground to inspect pipes or inside tanks, those huge petroleum tanks that you see out there. So they're used for that as well. And there's a myriad of other things too. For example, drones are being used by researchers to check out wildlife. So for example, they are used to check out nesting birds. They're being very careful. These are professional researchers that are doing this so they don't disturb it, but they're also used for that as well. So that's just a sampling of some of the types of jobs and people that are members of our organization.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kenji. And, the folks who are part of your organization, they are not recreational flyers, correct?
Correct. So everyone has their Part 107. They're engaged in some sort of work. So they're using their drone to make money.
Absolutely. And so, the bar is a little bit different between 107 and recreational flyers. For recreational flyers, you need to register your drone and take trust. Trust being the recreational UAS safety test. So the FAA actually did host a webinar for new pilots. And for those of you who want to learn more about trust, please check out our website and our YouTube. We've got it on there. Thank you so much, Kenji. Really appreciate your answer. All right, Hernanda, you're up. You do a lot of work at Black Girls Drone with STEAM. STEAM being science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So how can parents or teachers get children involved in drones, and where do they start?
Wow, that's a great question, and something that we're always looking for a fun answer to, because kids are fickle, right? They like what they like. But I think the energy of it for us has been, our experience is we use video games, right? We trick them into learning because it's a lot of technical work, and we make it exciting for them because they also get to do hands-on projects. But primarily, using flight simulators and drone flight simulators has been key for our organization. We do put into practice hands-on. We also have drone engineering. We do build, we do fly. We do engage in all of those, but we do more than fly drones. So we get them ready by coding and getting excited about the opportunities and the earning potential of becoming drone literate.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your fantastic answer, Ananda. I just want to go ahead and put out this reminder. Our panelists are here to answer your questions about the drone community. So please make sure that you are submitting these questions through the comment section on YouTube and Facebook, and through replies on Twitter. And I do see that we've got a couple. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with those. The first one that I've got is actually for Kenji. If you are a recreational flyer monetizing your YouTube channel, do you now count as Part 107?
Okay, so it's a little bit of a complicated question. So the first thing is that if you are just simply out there having a good time, and you take a video and then you upload it to YouTube, that's fine. I mean, that's considered recreational. So it's the intent at the time of flight that's super important. So the next thing that you got to look at is, for example, if you are monetizing your YouTube channel and you upload a video, that is monetizing, that you receive that material benefit. It's not YouTube for ad clicks or whatever, but you are receiving money. You need a Part 107. So even if it's not, say, for example, complete, all you do is drone videos, and say you're a travel blogger or whatever, and you upload videos, and one of them happens to be a drone video because you took the drone out and shot some stuff, you need your Part 107. So that's a great, absolutely great question, because if you're making money off of it, or even generating goodwill under the FAA guidelines, then you have to have your Part 107 certificate.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kenji. And I really want to reiterate that last point that you made, right? So it's not just making money, it is creating goodwill from the videos or product that you have taken with your drone. Next question is a really, really excellent. And Hernanda, this was sent for you. How can people with disabilities participate in some of the programs that you have mentioned, and are disabled youth learning about drones?
Yes, that's a great question. And we have had a modified drone camp, and we have had success with our students of differing abilities by allowing them to have a hands-on experience, and also being mindful of their social, emotional, and learning needs as well. So we've partnered last summer with an organization primarily with students that were autistic, and we help them get excited and get engaged by learning about drones. And not only that, they also learned about STEM. So they had a coding activity, but they did it with blocks. They had a drone build activity, but they did it with paper airplanes. And so some who had sensory issues also found excitement in playing the simulator and using the drone simulator with headphones on. So modifiable ways, and being very in touch, and also being mindful of their needs, and then being inclusive, was a really great addition to our drone camps last summer. This summer, we worked also again with the student with a differing ability. He joined the fun with everyone and actually got a chance to win a drone in our drone giveaway at summer camp this summer. So we were really excited to have students, and we welcome all ages of differing abilities to join us, because you can still drone for fun.
Absolutely. I love that answer so much, Hernanda. Thank you so much for all of the work that you're doing. Dave, I saw you perked up a little bit at that question as well. Did you want to chime in here?
Absolutely. One of the we're learning that all of the drones we fly have flight controllers, which is a single board computer, and we're learning that as professional pilots or pilots are aging out, that they're struggling physically or visually to maintain their certification, and being able to fly drones gets them up into the air, gets them back into the flight deck. And so that's a disability that we're helping, and to see the look on the people's face when they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't had this feeling in years since I was looking down at the trees. It's a great thing. And Hernanda, great to do that with kids, as you said, folks with disabilities of any age. And we're finding this is really useful to folks as they're getting older as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dave. Enno, I've actually got a question for you. What should I do if I want to get involved in drone education?
Sure. Yes, there are a ton of resources out there. You can start with us. We actually have a getting started guide for both recreational and commercial pilots. So if you are interested in that, it's a free download that we have on our website, just www.globalairu.com. And we go through the basics of what it means to have a drone, own a drone, What are those basic rules that separate recreational pilots from commercial pilots? There are some differences that you should be, aware of as well. But yes, there are resources out there. We have also pre-flight safety checklists that you should be using when you go out for your recreational and your commercial flights, of course, as well. But definitely for our recreational pilots, there are rules that you have in place. But these are all done to make this a better community and a more safe community at the end of the day. And the drones, we're really just scratching the surface of their abilities and what we'll be doing in the next 5 to 10 years. So as long as everyone is, following the rules and, being safe, then, we can get there much quicker. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Enno. All right. So I've got a question now for everybody. So we're going to do a little bit of a round robin here. Do any of your organizations host safety training sessions? And let's start with Kenji.
Oh, you've been putting me up front all the time.
I mean,
yes.
That's just the order we started in.
Yes. All right. No, we do have training sessions, but they're internal to our membership. So we provide trainings on, again, like we talked about the safety management systems and such. But one of the more interesting things that we've been working on is there's some folks out there who've had a rough time. There've been people who've yelled at them and stuff, and we've been offering trainings on how to address people who might not be the friendliest of folks, who might be a little bit hostile. So how to react in case something bad happens, or how to best approach things professionally so you come across as well. So a lot of people skills and how to diffuse situations as well. So that's some of the trainings that we do internally, especially for our membership, because those are becoming commonplaces. There are more and more drones out there because it's going to be, the skies are going to get crowded eventually, and I think it's helping really provide the tools for our folks to educate people about what the drone's being used for, and to really explain, because once you explain that piece to them, most people are like, okay, totally understand. So, but if it doesn't, we offer solutions to our drone pilots to address the situations. But yes, we do have them internally.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kenji. And actually, there is something that you mentioned that I want to put a pin in. And you mentioned just briefly, things you can do before you go out flying your drone. So just put a pin in that. Maybe I'll come back to that in just a minute. But I want to move on to Dave real quick. Same question. Does your organization host safety training sessions?
Our partner organization, Flight Test Community Association, does. They have a program called Flight Test STEM. There are over 7,000 teachers in the United States using FT STEM. It's used both in curricula as well as extracurricula, and it starts basic aviation and then has the students building simple aircraft. One of the aircraft they're doing now is a small quadcopter, and it's FPV capable. And so it's as well as they also do fixed wing foam aircraft as well. So successful program, and it is written to local school system standards, and the FTCA organization gets involved and tailors the program so that it can be adapted to local school systems.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dave. And for everybody out there, that is Flight Test. All right, Enno, what about you? Does your organization host safety training sessions?
Yes, we do, both for youth and for adults as well. We do a number of different free trainings, free webinars, and we really believe in the value of giving out this information, for everyone. So again, you can sign up on our website to stay up to date with our free and upcoming workshops and webinars that we have, and definitely we love to share. And this is a really tight knit community, and as you may think that as more drone businesses come around, there may be some competition, but this is really an open dialogue between everyone, and I really enjoy being able to share information like this with the community. So
thank you so much, Enno. And
yep.
I really love that. It's a close-knit community, and that's really nice. Hernanda, what about you? Do you host safety training sessions?
Oh, yes, absolutely, we do. And we practice that and put that into practice when we are working with our students in the schools as well. As said about the young and the old, any age, drone flying and fun and education opportunities and career opportunities are for everyone. And it's a big community of us all, as he also said. So I love that. And we do share, and we should share best practices. And one of those is for me when I have my 13-year-olds and my adults who start, you must take the trust safety exam. And that is a yes, regardless if you decide to become a drone pilot or not, FAA Part 107 certified. But you must trust when you join with us. And so we love it. We spread the good cheer, we spread the good word, and safety first always, and drone flying for fun is for everyone.
That is awesome. And Hernanda, I'm a sucker for slogans. That one just had me right here. You must trust if you join with us. So love that.
Thank you.
Thank you. We actually have a little bit more time. So I do want to go back to that question. And primarily, sorry, Kenji, I'm going to pick on you here, but if anybody else wants to chime in as well, I think this is a great question here that was brought up. What can you do when you're going out to fly your drone? What should you do to let folks know that you're going to be flying around? Kenji, we'll start with you, and then
Kenji, we've got the recreational answer for that.
Okay, Dave, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you want to start,
no, didn't mean to step on you, Kenji.
No, yeah.
We have so this is reasonably important from recreational. So there are certain things that you're supposed to do. You have to have a set of guidelines with you. You should have taken trust. Your aircraft, if it's above 250 grams, should be registered, etc. Short list. It's on our website. It's on the front page. Here are the things you need to do to go fly recreationally. Simple, and you just do it, and it's fpvfc.org. And like that information, of course, is for free.
Awesome.
Okay, so I can chime in next. So on the commercial side, one of the most important things is finding out what your local regulations are. While the locals and the state authorities don't regulate the airspace, they do regulate the takeoff and landing locations of the drone. So, for example, for us, we get a lot of film permits. So we operate in the cities at certain times, and there's you need to get a permit from the city, from the parks that are around, especially for commercial purposes, because that's just normal course of business. So you should expect that. But one of the things that we do when we arrive on site, on set, or whatever, we make sure that the folks around us are aware of what's going on, especially if we have a 1 or 2 person crew that are out there. If we see somebody nearby, we mention to them, hey, this is what we're doing, and this is why. And it breaks the ice, because otherwise people can be surprised by a drone taking off right next to them. They don't know what's going on. And recreationally, that might be a good way to go too. If you see some folks hanging out nearby on a picnic, having a picnic or something like that, say, hey, flying my drone, just taking some really cool pictures and stuff, or I'm doing practice, just so you're aware of what's going on. Because I think the more knowledge that you can share with people around you, the more accepting that they are, and there's less a chance for conflict. You might run across some people who are very sensitive about that, but once you explain it, I'd say 99% of the time that I've flown, I've had no issues, because I've taken the opportunity to say, hey, this is what's going on to people who might be nearby. This is how long I'm going to be doing things for. And the other thing to watch out for, dogs. They come after drones as well. So just check out for drones, or check out for dogs to make sure that you're not flying near them, or if you haven't taken off yet, to tell the owner so they're aware, so that they don't freak out if the dog comes at you or anything like that. So those are just some of the really important steps that you can take, besides sort of having that checklist that you go through up front, which is, of course, check airspace for the safety of the people in the air. Mm-hmm. Check the ground around you, so the safety of the people on the ground, and then, of course, safety of the drone, so it's also a lot safer for yourself. So remember those 3 things.
Great. Thank you so much, Kenji. Yeah. And, for those of you who are watching, A great way to check the airspace, and if you can fly, is to download the Before You Fly app. It's got all the TFRs on there, and it will let you know if you are cleared to fly or not. All right, with that, this has been a really, really wonderful discussion. And I want to thank all of our panelists for sharing information about the work that you do to promote drone safety, as well as providing so much insight into the landscape of the drone community. This is the final Flying for Fun summer webinar. Thank you, viewers, for watching and for providing some really thought-provoking questions. For more information about other webinars in this series, check out our website. That's faa.gov/UAS/events. You can also look at our YouTube, and we've got all of the other episodes of the Flying for Fun seminar, or Flying for Fun summer webinar on our YouTube. And of course, if you are just getting started, you can see the website right on the screen here, faa.gov/UAS. And we've got an entire section for getting started, but you can also find lots of information there about drones. So I want to thank all of our panelists one more time: Dave, Kenji, Enna, Hernando. Thank you, Hernanda. I am so sorry. Thank you so much for being with us today. And for all of you tuning in, thanks so much. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.